Susan?
Oh my God, I'm so happy to be here with you, sitting here with you today and catching up. And we don't even know how long it's been since we talked last, but
Yeah,
it's a good reason to check in.
yeah, definitely. It's been a long time, I think, maybe since the beginning of summer or so. I'm sure
Yes.
so much has happened, and I know you've been traveling, so I can't wait to hear more about your stories.
Yeah, I've got a few little stories, and I know you've kind of settled down for a little bit, which I want to hear about how that's been. So, we can't always be on the go all the time,
Definitely.
right? Yeah. So yeah, so last month, December, I was in
Mhm.
Puerto Rico, and that was a super interesting experience. I hadn't ever spent any time there except for a day in San Juan, in old San Juan, and stopping, being on a plane and going into San Juan to get to St. Croix.
Mhm.
So I had an opportunity. Some friends of mine who've been traveling a lot invited me to share their Airbnb because I had a tenant in my condo for
Okay.
December. And I thought about it for a little bit, and I thought, it's kind of out of my comfort zone a little, to share a place with
Mhm.
people, because I generally like to travel alone. But I had met them on St. Croix a couple of years ago, and I knew that they loved snorkeling. I knew that they loved traveling. And so I said yes. So I showed up December 1st to start my month with two people I didn't really know all that well, but it was
Mhm.
great.
Yeah. And so,
Yeah.
well, tell us more about that. Like, how did that go?
So it was interesting because I knew the woman better. We would snorkel a lot, and her
Mhm.
husband, not husband, her partner didn't snorkel as much with us. So I knew her better. And, they were both going to be there when I got there. Well, a week before, she calls me up and she said, "Oh, there's been a change. I've got to come." She had to go back home because of a legal thing she had to take care of. She had to sign some papers. And she said, "Is it okay if I'm not there when you get here?" And I said, "Oh, cool," because they were already there. And I said, "No, no, no worries. I'm comfortable." And she said, "Oh, great." So still had my plans to come December 1st. And then she got back to me right before I was to leave. And she said, "I've got to be away for a week, so I'm not going to be here." And I said, "Oh, okay. Well, that's a longer amount of time, but it was fine.
Mhm.
We just, hung out, and I had been recovering from knee surgery, so I wasn't all that mobile,
Okay.
but it was fine. I mean, I had such an interesting couple. I'll tell you a little bit about how they've managed, talking about traveling. So to rent a car in Puerto Rico
Mhm.
right now is super, super expensive. And plus they're very concerned about the environment. So they decided to ship some electric bikes down. And they had made this plan to get the electric bikes, use them in Puerto Rico. They're
Mhm.
actually coming over to St. Croix for February. They're going to bring them over here. And then they're going to, before they leave, they're going to sell them. So they have use of these bikes the whole
Yeah.
time. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, that's very well thought out, I think.
Yeah. So they have electric bikes where they live normally in Virginia.
Mhm.
Anyway, so it was really interesting for me to not have a car, to be somewhere and not have a car. It caused me really to slow down a lot
Mhm.
and not be like, I didn't have a feeling that, oh, I had to go here and I had to go there and I had to go sightsee and do all these things. I actually spent more time relaxing, you
Okay.
know?
Enjoying
Yeah.
that slower pace of life. And now, when you did want to go out and maybe do some tourist activities or whatnot, that were a bit further than where you could reach by bike, was there good public transportation?
So so interesting. I'm so glad you asked that, because it seemed like the universe opens up and provides. And I really wouldn't have thought about this, but they had met a gentleman, a Puerto Rican gentleman
Hmm.
there, who was a driver. And so he had picked them up at the airport because we were on the very west coast of Puerto Rico.
Mhm.
And it was a 2-hour ride from the airport there. So they had said, oh, we've met this guy and he's really becoming our friend and he's a driver. And so he can, when we need to get somewhere that's kind of outside the limits, we can talk to him. It ended up to be so perfect because he was available and became a friend and, ate with us and we took him out to, to eat at restaurants and we met his partner. And so it was great and it was super inexpensive.
Mhm.
So it turned out that what we would do is it pretty much worked out that maybe every other day or every 2 days, we
Mhm.
would call him up and say, hey, Pepito, let's go to Crash Boat Beach. And he'd be like, okay, what time? And he'd come and get us and he'd hang out with us there. We'd go snorkeling, swimming, whatever. So it was perfect. And they had the electric bikes to even do food shopping.
Mhm.
And I got to ride one a couple of times. So that
Yeah, how was it?
was a new experience. So I mentioned I had knee surgery, right? So in the very end of August. So I was doing PT right up till when I left to
Mhm.
go to Puerto Rico. And so it wasn't 100%, my knee wasn't 100%. And but I could be on a bike. I bike a lot, but I don't have an electric bike. It's a
Mhm.
different kind of motion to be on a bike. And plus you need to do the, throttle and the brakes and all of that. So anyway, so the first day I was there, I got in, and we had a long drive out. But the next day, my friend said, hey, let's, do you want to jump on the bike and we're going to go out to this beach? He said, it's not far. And he said, there's a little bit of a hill going down to the beach, but it'll be fine. And I said, let's go.
Oh.
So we go and I'm, just learning how to do this. And it's beautiful beach. And yeah, it was very much of a downhill going to the beach, as most of the beaches were in this area.
Mhm.
So he showed me, he said, oh, you'll get back up fine, it's no problem. I said, okay. Figuring the bike was gonna figure out a way to get me back up. And so we hung out at the beach. We met a woman. I feel like I'm talking so much, but it was so exciting. We met a woman. She was giving massages on the beach.
Mhm.
We met her. Turned out that we ended up having massages every week with her.
Nice.
And thinking about those things. Well, this is kind of an offshoot, but those things that are important to you that you will spend your money on, as opposed to just spending money on things that aren't that important to you, being very intentional about it. So
Definitely.
anyway, we had a nice day at the beach. The water was a little rough to get in for snorkeling, but it was gorgeous. It was it's called oh, I should have practiced this. It's called Punta Borinquen. Beautiful spot.
Mhm.
So now it's time to go. So we get on the bike and I start going, and it was a very long hill and it was kind of windy. And I didn't 100% understand how the bike worked. So I almost made it to the top. And I stopped. I was having to pedal
Mhm.
at a pace that it wasn't comfortable for my knee. So I just stopped. So it's like, okay, how are we going to get up the rest of the hill? And so Joseph said, no worries, no problem. And he got his bike up and then he came, and now I've got to walk up the hill. So already my knee is not feeling great. I have to walk up the hill. And so I ended up walking up it mainly backwards. It was,
Boy, that sounds so difficult.
it was what my knee could manage. But it was fine. And it was, when I turned around, this is just another kind of lesson. Like you never know what's gonna be there. When I going up the hill, and then when I turned around, I looked, I'm like, oh wow, what a beautiful vision. So down the hill, and there was the water, and then there was this island that I hadn't even noticed in before you couldn't really see it from the beach.
Yeah.
And so there was that. Anyway, yeah,
Very cool.
it was fun.
That's awesome. Yeah, Puerto Rico's on my list. I haven't been there yet, but I love
No?
hearing your stories. Yeah, you'll have to give me some more names of beaches and specific places to see.
Yeah. So it was great to have, Pepito, who was born and raised in Puerto Rico. So he knew
Mhm.
that area very, very well, and would, talk to us about different beaches and different restaurants and things like that. So we really I had no idea that, it was going to be so easy to get around,
Mhm.
really, that we were going to have somebody that was so familiar with it. If you try to, I'm just thinking, sometimes you don't do things because you're worried about how things are going to be organized, and maybe it's not going to work out. But I don't want to be kind of like Pollyanna-ish, but sometimes it just does, it seems like
Oh, I
often,
agree. Definitely.
right? You
Yes.
have been traveling.
Traveling, I agree. You meet the right people at the right times a lot of times.
Does that really happen all the time? Because it feels like it does.
It does quite often. I
Yeah.
literally say it again and again. I mean, I think you know that I use couch surfing a lot, and it seems like your case is almost like some sort of unofficial couch surfing. I mean, it's very similar to like something I would come across in couch surfing. But I always say I don't know how I get so lucky, but I really tend to meet like the right people at the right time, and some of like the greatest out there, and things just seem to fall into place. Even like if I'm traveling alone and something happens, like you say, poof, there tends to be a solution.
It was really surprising to me. I guess I'm paying more attention to that
Mhm.
now,
Mhm.
how that happens. And I think when you start to look for it, it just kind of does. So I was happy that I got out of my comfort zone a little bit.
Mhm.
And, I wouldn't normally have gone to stay with a couple, but I would with one person generally, but I just, for a month, plus it was for a month. I
Yeah.
mean, it
Yeah.
wasn't like it was a week. It wasn't a
Uh-huh.
week. I mean, that would be a no-brainer, but it was a good amount of time.
Yeah.
But I really fell into a great pattern, and I think it was just what I needed to. I hadn't planned on doing a lot of work
Mhm.
in December just because it's not a great time to be doing, planning a lot of work. And plus I felt like I needed the rest and the recuperation.
Mhm.
It worked out perfectly. And then I had, of course, planned to come here to St. Croix for January. And so I did that. And so here I am. I've been here, but what, almost 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
And
How's the snorkeling been?
the snorkeling has been good. And I'm also testing out. I bought a GoPro. I bought a GoPro camera because my underwater camera had broken. So I'm learning that. I'm watching videos and learning how to use it. It's really an amazing little piece of equipment. It's
Mhm.
really powerful and complicated and all of those things. So yeah, I've already seen some things I've never seen before.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So I don't know. I don't have a return ticket yet,
Mhm.
which is kind of unusual for me as well.
Oh, you'll be fine.
I know, right? I know it.
You'll
I
find the
know.
perfect ticket when the time's right. Don't worry.
Yeah, right. I normally have it when I'm going to come back. So I'm kind of just leaving it right now with everything so uncertain with COVID.
Mhm.
Back home, cases are super, super high, and it just feels
Yeah.
that to be here and to be in the open air and to be in the warmth, this makes so much sense.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah. So tell me what's going on with you. You kind of, you hinted a little before, you haven't been doing so much traveling. You kind of settled into teaching for a bit.
Yeah. Well, last summer, yeah, I went back I believe after we've spoken, I spent some time in the US to visit my family, and then I went back to Lisboa. So I was able to spend summer in Lisboa, enjoying the weather, going to some beaches, seeing some friends, playing paddle, all those good things, working a bit on the bucket list coaching as well. And then I came back at the end of August to visit my family again. I think I mentioned maybe in our last video, my brother was also coming back from the Philippines. So it was going to be like this family reunion for the first time since before COVID. And so I came back, I was with my family. And during that time, there was actually a big change in China. I don't know if you heard about this, but the Chinese government just decided pretty much overnight to say, okay, no more English classes with foreign teachers. And as you know, before, as I was nomading, I was teaching a lot of English. So I was like, oh, all right, I just lost most of my students. So
Oh, wow.
there we go. And
Oh.
not to mention, like you said, with COVID, I was getting a bit frustrated of, with all the difficulties of traveling. And I had been stuck in two of the worst lockdowns already in Spain and in Portugal. And yeah, I just said, I'm going to send some CVs here in Michigan and see what happens. And maybe I'll nomad in Michigan for a while. And sure enough, that's what happened. So here I am. Wow. I say I am nomading in Detroit, which is funny enough, the city I was born in. I haven't really lived in Detroit, but now I am living and working in Detroit, nomading, as I say.
Oh, that's
in Detroit.
Cool.
So I'm back. Yeah, so that's been interesting. And it's been particularly interesting because I am working at a school in Mexican town, which means I actually get to use my Spanish. And there are many places in Michigan where I can do that. So that was a nice fit right there. And
so you were teaching English to Chinese students?
I was before, yeah.
Oh, I don't think I realized that.
Oh yeah, I was doing that as well. I still have a couple of them as well that I'm working with privately, but for the most part, China wiped out their multi-billion-dollar English industry overnight. So yeah.
I have a friend that teaches English he's a teacher in South Korea now. So, and he's been doing that for over 10 years. Mm-hmm. He's living there and teaching there.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very cool.
So now you're teaching English to children in Mexico.
Well, no, now I'm working in Mexican town. So that means that I think 80 some or 90% of the students are native Spanish speakers. So I'm actually working as a parapro, helping with English, with math, and also with the language.
Oh.
A little different.
So is it full-time? Is full-time teaching?
It is, yes.
Wow.
So apart from that, I have been working on the bucket list side of things. So I actually recently just ran my first bucket list course for kids. With some kids in China, and it was amazing. They did much better than I could have anticipated. They were on it. They were so into it and so excited about it. And so, in a similar way as we do in our workshops, I went through each letter with them, and I had them make a bucket list book. So each week, we went over a letter, and they are non-native speakers, but their English is very good for their ages. And yeah, they were able to understand and really discuss different things that they want to get out of life and add their pictures to their bucket list books. And they was like, what letters next week? They were so excited. And
that's what age group is that?
I was in between 7 and 10.
Oh man, that is so cool to think about kids that age. Already getting that focus to things that they want to do in their lives.
Yeah. And there are some, I would say, difficult letters for them. Like one is legacy, and I was going into it and I knew that would be one of the more difficult ones, but what what comes to mind when you think about your legacy, to a 7-year-old. But we talked about, what legacy means and how we want to be remembered. And they were able to come up with some great ideas, even the young kids. I mean, I was floored. So, so they really surprised me. And I'm really looking forward to continuing with the bucket list course for kids. It was a lot of fun.
So people can just get in touch with you and say, hey, Jenny, tell me about how a bucket list course works for kids?
Yeah, yeah. So there are 12 letters. So the first time I did 1 letter a week. I think moving forward, I would probably do 2 letters a week. So like twice a week. But yeah. So
So
most
tell me how
six weeks.
there are 12 letters, because I'm kind of doing the math and I'm coming up with, I thought it was
My bucket list. So
my bucket list.
yeah,
Okay.
each letter stands for a different category of the holistic bucket list.
Unbelievable.
So I had the kids make like a little book. Well, I told them they could either, put their pages together and make a book, or they could, make a big poster for the wall, however they wanted to do it. So
visual. I love the visual.
Yeah.
I talk to my clients about the visual impact, for
Mhm.
them to set their goals and to,
Yeah.
have something, have a name, have a cutout, have something that they
Yeah.
can focus on.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So every week I had them add, complete a new letter. And then, once we got through the first couple of weeks, I said, okay, I want you to work on something, even something small, but like start working towards something on your bucket list and tell me what it is next week, or show me something, or show me a picture. So they come the next week and be like, I said I wanted to start, learning more about how to play the piano. So they'd come with a new song and they'd play it for me. And yeah, it was really neat.
Wow, that's really good.
I absolutely loved it.
It sounds like it. And that
Mhm.
sounds like really good time spent, for them and for you,
Yeah.
for your business.
Yeah. So I look forward to doing more of that.
Yeah. So you just reminded me, one of the things, I don't know, I feel like in this time I've been just, I don't know, more open and receptive, and ideas are coming to me and things are happening. I joined a group not so long ago, and it's solo travel. Think of the name of it, Solo Travel for Women Over 50.
Okay.
Oh, they're giving me so much inspiration and so much. There was an actual post a couple of weeks ago where they were, somebody asked for help. They said they have very, very limited budget, but they were very inspired by the travels in the group and how do people manage. And everyone just kind of gave like so many tips of how to do things. And we've talked about this before.
Yeah.
You have to have a lot of money to travel the way that we do. Definitely people can book yachts and be in penthouses and all those other things, but certainly not necessary or even desired, I think, in some ways. So I've been super inspired by them, and just more and more thinking about doing what you want to do, doing what's on your bucket list, and then finding a way to financially make it happen.
Exactly. I mean, it's about thinking about what it is that you want and being intentional and going after it. So
yeah. What I was thinking too, but I don't even know if this soap opera is still on. I think it might be the only one from years ago, One Life to Live. I don't know if you've ever heard
of it, but I don't really.
Yeah, I don't even know. But I've been thinking more and more about that. And it kind of falls in with the bucket list, and it falls in with financial coaching. You've got one life to live. What are you going to do with it? And how are you going to get to the things that you want to do?
That's so true.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're not where your family's in Michigan, right?
Yeah, my family's here in Michigan, so I am nomading in Michigan until June at least, and we'll see after that what happens.
So nomading means
stay on. I just say I'm nomading. I'm staying here until June.
Oh, okay.
So through the school year for sure, and then we'll take it from there.
Right. And so are you renting a place, or how are you?
I am, yeah. So I'm actually in Detroit. My family's not in the city, but I did want to come out to Detroit. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So spend some time exploring.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. See, that's one thing. I've been here, which is my home state, but I haven't actually lived here for about 15 years. So in a way, I'm like, I'm like a foreigner here, Yeah, everything's new, but I do like being closer to the bigger cities because there's more going on. And I have been making it a point to go out and try a bunch of new ethnic restaurants and try to get out and go to different events. And so even if I'm not traveling per se, I'm still like going on little
you're doing
little like new things, trying new things and trying to keep that little travel spirit alive. And surely I will be traveling during the holidays.
Mhm.
So I don't know where yet,
So what,
but
yeah, I was just gonna say, do you have a thought in mind of back to Lisboa? I mean, I think you've been there, it was like Lisboa was your home base a little bit.
after a while, I mean, I was nomading, so that at the time that was my nomad base. I will definitely go back to visit at some point, but honestly, I don't think I would stay long term. I mean, this summer, my plans, regardless of what happens, are to travel. So I have some places actually in the Middle East in mind, possibly going through Europe as well. But I think with COVID and everything, it's too far ahead right now to actually make plans because things are changing so fast. And so I haven't actually like looked into anything, but I would really hope to travel a lot this summer. And then I do have some smaller breaks coming up. You know, I'm going down to Miami in a month to visit my friends for the first time since COVID. And then I have, I think, about 10 days off for well, close to Easter. And I don't have a trip planned yet, but I hope to do something for sure. So
Yeah,
I need to
yeah.
start looking into that one.
I
But
just
then
know
again,
that
I feel like it's still early. You know, COVID's really bad here. So
really bad.
I'm
Yeah, it's
like, you
really
never
bad.
know what it's going to be like in 2 months. So I'm not even really, you know, I haven't been looking into it yet, but I do hope to go somewhere for sure.
It is getting that way. I just got out of Puerto Rico. Well, it wouldn't have been a big deal. That St. Croix now requires a negative COVID test to get in about, and that happened 2 days after I got here. So I was able to get here just on my vaccination card, which shows that I was vaccinated here. I was very lucky to get vaccinated here last year. But then that changed. And I did, I mean, it was a concern for me in Puerto Rico. Suppose I had a false negative test, and I wasn't able to come over. And my friends were leaving that Airbnb. They were going to a new place that didn't have room for a third person. And all of a sudden I thought, oh, that'll be interesting if I don't have a place. And I don't normally like to be that kind of like last minute with things. So as it happened, it worked out and I was able to get here. But it is the concern, like you said, you got locked down in places that, that can be expensive and it can be inconvenient.
It's definitely a reality for that to happen. I know a couple of people who that happened to. They felt fine and they just, did the routine COVID check to be able to fly, and it's like positive, and they're like, what? Like now what? Like now I can't fly, like the trip's ruined. And
it
happens. It happens.
Yeah. So, oh my God, I don't know. I feel like I'm not sure how long we've been talking, but it feels like it went by so quickly.
Yeah, it does.
Oh my gosh. So we'll see what you're going to do in the summer. And that's so cool that you did the bucket list with the kids. I think that is fabulous. I think there's just so many people that would love that for their kids. Maybe after they take it as an adult, so they can start, it's all about intentionality, right? It's
creating goals and going after them.
Yep, for sure. So I've started to focus more on workplace workshops. So workplace wellness, financial wellness.
Yeah.
And that's my focus. I'm talking to companies now about providing the 4-week session that we had met talking about workplace money coach. Yep. So I'm hoping to have my first one in March. And I think it's, when companies more and more are seeing what their employees really need as far as wellness, I think mental health right now
definitely
is the big one. I think the financial piece is a huge one. I think companies are starting to see that just offering a 401k, it's not enough. I mean, there's no training that goes with that. So I think that people are opening their eyes to that. And really,
I was going to say, like, I've noticed here too, being back in the US, that a lot of employees don't even understand how 401k works or understand that there's a match that goes along with it. It's not really explicitly, explained either. in a lot of cases. And so, as you said, I think there needs to be some sort of education as well.
I'll tell you, every client that I've worked with, every single one of them, no matter age, young, old, contributing for a long time, big portfolio or little portfolio, every single one of them was not educated about what they were investing in. They didn't understand the expenses. And it makes perfect sense to me that they don't, because nobody ever told them. And even when I look back, I just responded to somebody the other day, when I first started in my 401k 30 years ago, even with an accounting degree, I mean, it was another language. They didn't teach me this. They didn't teach me. And so I did the best I could at the time. If I knew then what I know now, no, it would, I'd have a lot more money for sure. So, so I do think that that is one of the areas that I do like to focus on with people. People are doing a good job. They're contributing, they're doing that, and which is fine, but really to understand how to maximize that is huge.
That's true. Yeah. I always say I don't have many regrets in life. I've done a lot of crazy things. I don't have many regrets, but my biggest regret is, not having started investing in my 20s. Or I didn't even know what compound interest was, I had no idea. Like, and I'm like, why didn't I know this? Like, I would be in a much better place now, So.
Oh, for sure.
Oh yeah.
Right.
I totally agree. Yeah.
It's like
financial education is so important. Like. So
so getting
unfortunately, I think it's missing. And so
my nieces and nephews trying to, 18, 19, 20 years old, getting them to understand the goals that they have is their age and the amount of years they can invest. So, well,
it's great that you're getting them started so early.
It would be nice if the schools had put a foundation in. Right. So one of the things that happened last year in Rhode Island is that we've passed a bill to require financial literacy in high schools. So one course, actually, we're going to beef it up more, but one course, I mean, I'm happy it got passed and it's a step in the right direction. It needs to be more robust, but because there's, more than half of the states don't require any sort of financial education. And so I'm happy to be a passionate proponent of that.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great that you're part of that as well.
Yeah, well, I'm on the round table. The general treasurer in Rhode Island put together a round table, people from all walks of life. And Sandra Cano actually was one of the biggest sponsors of the bill. And so I was thrilled to be a part of that, small part of it. But
that's awesome. Congratulations.
I feel like we could talk forever, but we probably so I guess tune in. So what did we say? We say this is money coaches, traveling money coaches tell all.
Yes.
We don't actually tell all at once, so you have to tune in next time.
That'll be way too long. So yes. Well, it was great talking to you again, and I can't wait to hear all about your time in St. Croix. I'm sure you'll have many more adventures next time. And so.
Maybe I can show some photos next time.
Awesome. Yeah, I want to see.
Cool.
Awesome. Well, it was so nice to talk to you, and make sure you follow Susan's account. I know she's been putting photos.
Right. That's what we should talk about, how to get in touch with us, right?
Which account would you like them to follow? I know you have a couple, so.
So I'm on LinkedIn. I do a lot of my my businessy money posts on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook, Mind Your Money LLC, also Instagram at Mind Your Money LLC. I actually haven't been posting a lot of stuff there lately. I've got to get back on that. But you can reach out to me at Susan at mindyourmoneyllc.com.
Sounds great.
We'll see.
I don't know. Travels too.
And how about you? What's the best place to get in touch with you?
You can just get in contact with me on Instagram, Global Gats. I think that's probably the easiest way.
Cool. All right.
All
More
right. Well,
travel.
great talking to you.
You
Can't wait to
too.
hear about your adventures next time as well.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
It's been fun. It's been fun. The first time I came here was 15 years ago. And so, yeah, it's like my second home. So
Mhm.
I don't even know if I consider it traveling anymore, but
Awesome. Well, we'll be in contact and yeah, hope to catch up again soon.
okay. Take care.
You too. Bye.
Bye.